welcome to our Wings of America Bird Show. My name is Sam.
My name is Andrea.
And the two of us work for the American Eagle Foundation, where we're all dedicated to the conservation of birds of prey. And today in our show, y'all will see several of our amazing birds. Now, before we get started, I do want to remind y'all that every bird you'll see today has been deemed non-releasable. That means that they could not survive out in the wild for some reason. They all came to us either through injury or illness or human imprints. Now, I know that we literally just met my friend Andrea, but she's got to go backstage. She got her first bird ready. So everyone wave for goodbye. All right. Well, before we get started, just a few safety rules that I do want to remind y'all about. Like that video said, please do put any food that y'all have under your seats. See, our birds are trained to fly towards food, and while they absolutely love their mice and rats that they're about to get in our show, we have learned that they sure do love some cinnamon bread and barbecue and literally anything at all. So please do keep those under your seats. Now, Andrew and I will walk these guys, not just up here, but also down here and through those aisles on either side of those seats. So please do keep those aisles clear for us and the birds. And most importantly, we ask that y'all don't try to touch or pet the birds in any sort of way. See, these guys are not pets. They're still very much wild animals. If you try and grab them, they will try and grab you back. And they don't feel great. Trust me. Now, I do also ask that please no one try to stand up or try to enter the exit or exit the theater while a bird is out. Any sort of sudden movement can be very spooky to them, and they can easily fly out of here. Trust me. I've had to run through this theme park waving a rat in the air in public, begging for a vulture to come back. It is not as fun as it sounds. Now, like I said earlier, me and Andrea are conservationists, but the good news is at the end of our show, all y'all will be conservationists as well. Our birds run on enthusiasm. So, who's ready to see some birds? Listen, people, this is our second show today, all right? Our first show did a lot better than that, and there was about 4 people here. So, listen, I know it's hot. We have no AC in there. I'm dying right now. But like I said, our birds run on enthusiasm, and that was terrible. So, one more time, who is ready to see some awesome birds? That's what I'm talking about. All right, Andrea, they're ready for you.
All right. Who out there is an owl lover? Anyone? I should have said, who out there is an owl lover? I'd like to introduce you all to Buster. Now, with a show of hands, how many of you think this is a baby owl? Anyone? How many of you think this is a full-grown adult owl? How many of you don't care? You just think he's really adorable. Well, Buster is in fact a fully grown eastern screech owl. And despite the name screech owl, they don't screech at all. They actually don't even hoot. Instead, they have more of a laboring whistle that sounds like this. And what's better than one screech owl, but 2 screech owls. So Sam just brought out Gimli, our second adorable screech owl. Now, you're going to notice that both of them have finger tufts on top of their head, which right now they have them stuck up. They can actually stick them down if they want to. They are not ears, they have nothing to do with hearing, and they're not horns. They are simply just tufts of feathers, and the technical term is called plumiforms. Now, these function as a way to help them camouflage. Even though screech owls are birds of prey, they do prey on other animals like mice, fleas, voles, small rodents like that. They often fall prey to larger birds like the great horned owl. So they have to be able to hide in order to evade those predators. So what they'll do is they'll stick their feather tufts up really tall, make their bodies very skinny and tall, and close their eyes, and they look nothing more than like a gnawed log. So they blend in with whatever tree that they are perching in. Also, Buster is a gray-faced screech owl, whereas Gimli over there is a red-faced screech owl.
Of course, batteries.
There's also a brown-faced screech owl as
I don't have batteries.
And the reason why there are multiple color phases is because these birds live in forested areas. And there are a lot of trees out there that have different colored bark, so they have to be able to blend in whatever environment they're living in. So a lot of you have probably noticed already that Buster's missing his left eye. He was hit by a car and unfortunately suffered a detached retina, which had to be removed as it was causing him some pain. Emily was also hit by a car, but he does have both of his eyes. However, he suffered some head trauma and has a beak deformity now, so he unfortunately cannot be released into the wild either. But both of these birds live a life of luxury, as all of our birds do. As much as we wish they could be back out in the wild, they simply can't survive on their own. But we can offer them food every day, something that wild raptors don't get the luxury of. They don't even have to hunt for it. It's already dead. It's frozen, and then we thaw it out each day. And they get a specific amount based on their weight, their behavior, and season, and all the things like that. They also have access to free health care. So they have a veterinarian, or we have a veterinarian on staff, who specializes in birds of prey. And if we ever have an issue with any of our birds, we just call him up, and he will come on down and take a look at our birds. And they also live by themselves, as most of our birds do, because most of these birds are solitary, and they don't have to worry about their food getting stolen by another screech owl or another bird, for that matter. Now, like I said, they do live in forested areas. They actually don't make their own nests. They will use the nests of other birds. They'll use the nests of, well, great horned owls, the larger the owl. They'll use the nests of larger raptors like red-tailed hawks, bald eagles. Screech owls will often use woodpecker nests. They'll also use just cavities in trees, rock crevices, things like that. So if you would like to attract these birds to your property, you can build what's called a nest box. And on the screen, there's going to be a QR code that you can scan that will show you how to build a nest box to maybe attract these birds, or even attract American kestrels, which is North America's smallest species of falcon. Both of these birds are two of nature's best pest control experts. Like I said, they eat lots of rodents. So if you have any rodent problems around your house, you could try to attract these birds to your property and get rid of those rodents. But also, if you're just an avid bird enjoyer like me, you could attract these birds, and it's just fun to see them in the wild. Now, these birds are very tiny, but does anyone want to take a guess on how much you think they weigh? Feel free to blurt the answer out if you think you might know it. Any guesses? What'd you say? 520? Any other guesses? Well, he weighs a whopping 5 ounces, which is about how much a baseball weighs. So if you want your own screech owl at home, you can take a baseball, put some glue on it, roll it around with some feathers, stick 2 googly eyes on it, and you have Gimli. Or take one away and you have Buster. Well, what did you all think of Buster and Gimli, our screech owls?
All right, well, for those of you that love Buster and Gimli, this is the best day of your life. This is Desi, the desert eagle owl. So if you love owls, this is the show for you. If you don't love owls, you got to get out of here. I'm just kidding. When we see owls, one of the first things we think of are those massive eyes. And for good reason. They're absolutely huge. So I want everyone to do something. I want everyone to take a fist and put it right up to one of your eyes. Look at y'all. Y'all look ridiculous. If we have the same size eyes as owls, that is how big our eyes would be. They need these massive pupils to help let in as much light as possible. Since these birds are nocturnal, they only hunt at night. So having those massive eyes helps them see when there's not much light on. Now, another cool thing about owls is Desi makes absolutely no noise when he flies. His feathers are built in just a way where he has silent flights. This is super helpful when you're trying to ruin a mouse's day and sneak up on him in the middle of the night. Now, you will not find an owl that looks like this in the wild. Out here in the wild. If you find an owl that looks like him in the Great Smoky Mountains, please call us. I would really love him back. Now, these guys are actually from the desert, shockingly, and what's especially cool is it's not even a North American desert. Desi is actually from Egypt, over in Africa.
Egypt,
these guys are all the way from Africa.
Interesting.
Now, they are an exotic species, and sadly, one of the biggest threats they face is the exotic pet trade. That's actually how Desi came to be with us. He was rescued from a pet store out in Knoxville. Now, this is kind of sad, but we like to tell y'all this, because we like to tell y'all, if you ever find an endangered species or exotic species for sale, contact your local wildlife resource agency, and they can help rescue that animal and get it back where it belongs. Now, when we think of the deserts, sometimes we think of this place where nothing can live. It's just too hot out there. As it turns out, there are plenty of species of birds, reptiles, and even mammals that call the desert home. So it's just as important to protect our deserts and all the animals that live out there. Now, Desi is also what we call a human imprint bird, which means that he doesn't really see himself as an owl. He sees himself as a very handsome, spotted, large-eyed human man. And we love him for that. And he's actually been with us for over 10 years. So he's absolutely living it up. Y'all have no idea how spoiled he is. So how about it one more time for our gorgeous Desert Eagle owl, Mr. Desi.
All right, I'm gonna play a sound and I want you to guess what bird you think it's coming from. Hearing a lot of eagle.
Hawk. Hawk or falcon?
I never went to a hawk. Well, if you said eagle, Hollywood has unfortunately lied to you. This is in fact a red-tailed hawk.
Yep.
I'd like you all to meet Jessie. Jessie is our 27-year-old red-tailed hawk. She is also a human imprint, just like Desi. Now, red-tailed hawks get that name, and they are rightfully named, unlike the screech owl that doesn't screech. But red-tailed hawks do have a red tail. But they're not born with that red tail. They're actually born with a brown tail. And after their first molt, which happens at about 1.5 years old, that's when they start molting out their old feathers and growing in their new feathers. So new feathers are pushing out old feathers. It doesn't hurt or anything. It's kind of like us losing our hair. Now, all birds go through the molting process, and it doesn't happen overnight or anything. It's actually like about 4 to 6 months sometimes. A process that is longer than a lot of people think. And it's really cool because if they lose their second right primary feather, they'll eventually lose their second left primary feather in like a day or two after that. So pretty much they molt symmetrically, so it doesn't prevent them from being able to fly. And if you're wondering what she's getting, she's eating mice and some quail. Red-tailed hawks love rodents. They will eat squirrels, they will eat rabbits, they'll eat amphibians, reptiles, venomous and non-venomous snakes. They have quite a varied diet. Now, despite a lot of myths and misconceptions, these birds don't want to eat those pets. Now, if you have a really tiny dog or a really tiny cat, possibly, but she weighs about 2.5 pounds, and birds of prey can only carry off half of what they weigh or less. So it's just not possible for her to carry off a 10-pound dog. These birds look a lot heavier than they are, but they are made up of a lot of feathers. Bald eagles, for example, have about 6,000 feathers. I don't know who decided to count that. But Jessie here, like I said, she is a human imprint. She is very used to humans. She actually used to fly in our show. We're trying to get her back up to doing that, but as of now, she is just on the glove. She has excellent vision, as do all red-tailed hawks. These birds can see a mouse from a mile away. So, excellent vision. And they definitely use that vision to hunt. When people think of birds hunting, a lot of times they think of them flying around trying to find animals. But that uses a lot of energy. These birds are actually hunting the most when they're perched. You'll see them on power lines on the side of the road, and that's what they're doing. They're scanning the ground hunting. But the reason why they are hunting on the side of the road often is because their food's on the side of the road. Unfortunately, when we litter things out of our car, even if it is food, a banana peel, an apple core, things that are biodegradable, it's still attracting rodents and other critters these birds eat. So they like to hang out on the side of the road. And oftentimes they don't look both ways before they cross the road and they will get hit by our vehicles. So you could actually help out red-tailed hawks and other wildlife by not littering anything out of your car. Red-tailed hawks can live to be 12 to 15 years old in the wild, but that can easily double under human care. Like I mentioned, most of the time it's going to double with most bird species. She's really interested in her mice today. But Jessie has been doing shows with us for some time, and maybe the next time you see her, she'll be flying over the crowd like she has before. But what did everyone think of Jessie, our beautiful red-tailed hawk?
Alright, y'all, the next bird coming out is very big, very scary, so if you are a fan of hearts, I'm going to suggest you get down. Just kidding, here he is. Alright, this everyone is Rocky the Merlin. Now, I know that Rocky is not very intimidating, but if y'all were a songbird, y'all would be terrified right now. See, Merlins are a small species of falcons, and falcons love to hunt other birds. These birds are actually very smart, because instead of hunting by themselves, catching smaller sized prey, they'll actually team up into pairs to catch larger prey. So if normally by themselves, they would only catch stuff like really small hummingbirds. When they team up, they catch prey as large as robins. Now, just like I talked about with Desi, Merlins are not from around here. They're actually from up north in Canada and the very tip top of the United States. They love to hunt where it's cold and flat and it's hungry. Now, as I'm walking Rocky around, I want y'all to look at those cool stripes on his chest and wings. These are especially cool because they're actually unique to just Rocky. It's just like our fingerprints, if you want to think about it that way. No other Merlin has the exact same pattern. Now, I also want y'all to check out those stripes under his eyes. If you ever played sports like baseball or football, and I've used these before, they're called mallard marks. People that play those sports put stripes under their eyes to help blind out the sun. That's actually what it does for Merlins. It helps blind out the sun while they're hunting. Now, Merlins are especially cool because they're actually one of the first birds that humans ever interacted with. Back in ye olden days, these guys were flown by queens and other people of royalty in something, can't hold on to it, something called falconry. Falconry is where people train birds like these to hunt stuff for us, like rabbits and squirrels. My gosh. And it's actually still around today. Now, Rocky came to us at American Eagle Foundation after he was found with a wing injury out in the wild. That's why one of his wings droops down just a little bit. But while he was with us, he developed something called glaucoma in one of his eyes. And sadly, it got so bad that that left eye had to be removed. So he is non-releasable because he's only got one eye. But just like I talked about earlier, y'all have no idea how spoiled he is. And it is so easy caring for Rocky in particular because his personality is so sweet compared to other birds or people. I would take him over most people. So how about it one more time for our adorable little guy, Rocky the Merlin. All right, well, real quick, we want to thank y'all for coming out to our show. Without y'all's support, we could not do what we do, and our birds would not have a second chance at life. And there is so much that all of us can do, no matter where we are, to help these birds out. Whether it's just picking up trash, making a few simple lifestyle changes, or just spreading the word about how important they are. Anything that we can do to help them is always worth it. But don't go anywhere. Andrew's going to be out in just a second. She's going to explain one way y'all can help conservation right now.
All right, so like Sam said, we are a nonprofit organization and donations do help us continue our mission to care for birds. A couple things you can do to help us is one, my favorite, if you're in the area for a while or if you're local, we actually do guided tours on a reservation base, and it's at our headquarters facility about 30 minutes away from here. If you happen to pass the Buc-ee's off of exit 407 coming into town, it's about a 2-minute drive from there. If you go to eagles.org, you can reserve a tour. And then we also have other birds there, and over 40 birds there, including an osprey, a raven, lots of bald eagles, 2 golden eagles, and more. So you can check those birds out. The second way, if you want to leave us something, is going to be these stickers for a $5 donation. There is, it says American Eagle Foundation on them. They last really long on ours. And then the final way is that you can scan the QR code That might come up on the screen soon. There it is. It's an Amazon wish list of ours, and it has lots of supplies that help us continue our mission, care for our birds. There's gloves, food prepping supplies, cleaning supplies, and toys for our birds. We do like to give our birds lots of enrichment, and they love toys, stuffed animals, puzzle feeders, things like that. So you just might buy one of our birds their next favorite toy. So thank you so much for joining us today. We do have a 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock show, and I'll be up here to answer any questions that you might have. But enjoy the rest of your time here at Dollywood. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's it. We're going to cut the stream. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and catch y'all later.